Ben Hogan, and I like this because I tended to be this way too. He acknowledged just the intrinsic appeal of golf that had people spending their whole lives experimenting with what he described as many false steps and dead ends. He used to use a notebook to keep track of what he was doing on the golf course. I never actually bothered to do that, but I understand what he meant. Chapter 2 in his wonderful book is about how to stand, and he noted that it wasn't just about aim. We tend to believe that the line across the toes is how we're aiming. In fact, it's rarely as accurate as the line across the shoulders, which also influences ball position. But he thought that the stance balanced you and made you prepared for full power. He thought that was very important. He also noted that very good golfers looked sort of a bit fidgety, but they weren't nervous. They were actually making fine-tuning adjustments. In another chapter we'll talk about the waggle, and if you notice good golfers, when they waggle, they move their feet a little bit in position. It's fine-tuning. And so he thought that the breadth of the stance was the inside of the feet, shoulder width for a 5-iron, wider for a driver, and narrower for the shorter clubs. He didn't talk a lot about weight distribution side and side, although he did advocate that the weight should be nearer to the heels, which I think is helpful. And he also thought that the right foot should be what he described as square, a little ambiguous, but in other words pointing straight forward, whereas the left foot for a right-handed golfer should be turned out a quarter of a turn. He actually described what he thought was a quarter of a turn. And he also thought that there are muscle groups that are important and others that are actually harmful. He thought that the inside muscles down the inside of the legs and the inside of the arms were the ones to go with. Now, you can probably tell that I have a lot of respect for him as an author, as a golfer, and for this book. But it's about now where we start to hear me dispute a couple of the things that he recommended, and only because the modern champions don't do it the way he advocated. One being that he thought that the arms should be pressed in against the body and that the elbows should be looking at their respective hips. We'll get into that again on the next conversation.